Hey, what's up everyone? GameDad here, coming at you guys with a brand new compilation video. This time taking a look at everything that I did in my Xbox 360 collection. Now that was a 5-part series, so sit back, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's check out everything that was in my collection. Aliens Colonial Marines was released by Sega in 2013, and this game takes you on an epic space adventure to combat the aliens from, multiple movies, different game franchises that have been out for long periods of time, and, the game does an okay job at it, but it's nothing special. Alpha Protocol was released by Sega in 2010, and in this game you actually get to play more of like a real secret agent than you ever would in, say, a 007 kind of game. You go around, you're collecting clues, kind of like a point-and-click adventure, but without the point-and-click, you actually get some 3D. Anarchy Reigns was released by Sega in 2013, and in this game you go on, the typical kind of like adventure-ish kind of game. You got your deep story and everything, but I really thought this game was kind of poorly executed. I really didn't care for it. Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel was released by Electronic Arts in 2013, and this game is a just continuation of the franchise. And I gotta say, it's actually pretty fun. You get your two different characters that you're playing as and switching back and forth and stuff like that. But overall, it feels like, in a kind of like Battlefield or Call of Duty kind of game. Up next, we have Assassin's Creed, released by Ubisoft in 2007, and this was the game that kicked off a massive franchise. And while this game was a ton of fun, and I had a blast playing through it when it first came out, it was definitely lacking compared to games later in the franchise. Assassin's Creed 2 was released by Ubisoft in 2009, and this was a game that kicked off the Ezio trilogy. And in this game, the graphics were dramatically improved, the storyline became way more expansive, and they fixed a lot of silly things from the first game, like you could actually swim now instead of dying instantly when you hit water. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was released by Ubisoft in 2010, and this is probably not only one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games, but definitely my favorite of the Ezio trilogy. Everything in this game was just on point, and they even added city building and money collection to the game, which I thought was a great addition. Assassin's Creed Revelations was released by Ubisoft in 2011, and this game marked the end of the Ezio trilogy. It kept improving upon itself and, graphically better, sound quality better. Gameplay, I would say pretty much was the same, but they added a few new tweaks. Assassin's Creed 3 was released by Ubisoft in 2012, and honestly, I didn't really care for this game. For me personally, it just wasn't that interesting seeing, U.S. history in action. I live in the U.S. I didn't really care that much for its history. I'd rather see like Roman and Greek stuff. Assassin's Creed Rogue was released by Ubisoft in 2014, and this one was just kind of weird to me. It had some like Black Flag kind of elements to it, but that was about the only thing that was captivating for me in this game. Overall, it felt kind of just like a weird addition to the franchise. Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Burning Earth was released by THQ in 2007. Gotta be honest, don't care about this game in the slightest, but back in the day when I wanted a ton of achievements really quick, this is the #1 game for that. You can get 1,000 gamer score points in like the first 5 minutes of this game. Up next, we got Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2008, and this game was kind of a reimagining or like a reawakening of the Banjo-Kazooie series that was just absolutely amazing in the past. And I gotta say, this game, it's fun. They take some fun jabs and you have a good time. Batman Arkham Asylum was released by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment in 2009, and this game was pretty epic when it came out. It was the first like true 3D like action Batman fighting game of this generation, and I think this game was executed very well. Batman Arkham City was released by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment in 2011, and this one was a follow-up to Arkham Asylum, and I gotta say, this one, it was pretty good. The graphics got an update, of course, but overall, the story felt just okay at best. I like the other game better. Battlefield Bad Company was released by Electronic Arts in 2008, and this game, the graphics are okay. They're a little blocky, as you can see, and overall the gameplay can be kind of jank at times, but this was the start of what turned out to be an amazing franchise.
Battlefield Bad Company 2 was released by Electronic Arts in 2010, and this game was a dramatic improvement over the first Bad Company game. Graphic wise, it just overall story, gameplay, everything got an exponential leap in just how well it played. Battlefield 3 was released by Electronic Arts in 2011, and this is where this franchise really started to take off for me personally. I mean, story-wise, they just nailed it. They definitely got their gameplay down. They, as you can see here, actually teach you how to play the game very effectively, and the game was just awesome. Beautiful Katamari was released by Namco Bandai Games in 2007, and I know that this is a popular game with a lot of people. I absolutely cannot stand this game. I despise the dual stick controls. They drive me up the wall. I hate this game. And speaking of dumb games, here is Big Bumpin', released by King Games in 2006, and yep, that is the Burger King. This game is dumb. It's bumper cars with Burger King and like Whopper Jr. Yeah, that's it. It's dumb. BioShock Infinite was released by 2K Games in 2013, and this was kind of the culmination of all those games. And I gotta say, this one is probably my favorite in the series. I mean, graphically, gameplay-wise, all that kind of stuff. Of course, it was better than the other games, but it's just, I don't know, something about this one really stood out. Borderlands was released by 2K Games in 2009, and I gotta say, this game was the coolest looking game I had ever seen when it came out. This is where you got to see that just crazy, like, not cel shaded effect, but that outline that they put on everything. Oh, I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. Up next is Borderlands 2, released by 2K Games in 2012, and this one is a continuation of the storyline. And I mean, it's same basic gameplay, you know, they give you updated elements and stuff like that, of course, but overall, it's the same game you know and love from the original Borderlands, just, you know, the next chapter. Brutal Legend was released by Electronic Arts in 2009, and this game is kind of a joke, not really in a bad way, but like in a comedy way, because the whole thing is like kind of like Jack Black's alter ego, I guess you would say, you know, this super metal beefcake guy. Up next is Bully Scholarship Edition, released by Rockstar Games in 2008, and I gotta say, I think this is one of Rockstar's finest games that they've ever made. I mean, it takes the whole like GTA kind of engine and flips it on its head by putting you in charge of a teenager that likes to go out and kick butt. Up next is Call of Duty 3, released by Activision in 2006, and oh man, this game does not age well. The graphics are jank along with the effects, and I was just not impressed with this. I remember it being a good game back in the day, but putting it back in to capture footage, ugh, woof. Up next is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, released by Activision in 2007, and now this was a pristine game. Even the graphics nowadays hold up pretty well, but this game was just so much fun. It was something unlike any other military-style FPS game that there was, and it was a blast. And here we have Call of Duty World at War, released by Activision in 2007. And this one is, of course, famous because it introduced Nazi zombies. That mode that is just like a zombie and will not die in any of these stinking games. But, you know, at least it was fun when it came out. Up next, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, released by Activision in 2009, and I gotta say, this is probably my single most favorite Modern Warfare game and Call of Duty game as a whole. I loved Spec Ops, and I loved playing through the campaign of this game, the multiplayer, everything about this game was just awesome. And here we have Call of Duty Black Ops, released by Activision in 2010, and this is another one. It started off a pretty sweet franchise. I mean, overall, the game was okay, but I really liked what you're seeing right here, where you could actually break free of the chair in the menu and then go play some Zork on the terminal. And here is Call of Duty Black Ops 2, released by Activision in 2012. And this one was just a continuation of this franchise. You get your typical spec bump going on in the game. Overall, I mean, I didn't really care for this one as much. I didn't really care for the Black Ops franchise as a whole. You know, probably an unpopular opinion. And here we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, released by Activision in 2011, and this one is my least favorite of the Modern Warfare trilogy. I mean, the game is okay, it's cool, you know, it wraps up the storyline, but overall, I felt this game was pretty weak. And here we have Call of Duty Ghosts, released by Activision in 2013. So, you know what's fun about having a game? Being able to play it. You know what's not fun about having this game? Having to install a crap ton of everything just to get the stupid thing to work. I don't like this. Command & Conquer 3, The Tiberium Wars, was released by Electronic Arts in 2007, and in this game you continue the awesome Command & Conquer franchise, and of course you're playing it on console, which just makes it extra fun because you get that really awesome graphics update. Crackdown 2 was released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2010, and in this game you are following the events of the first Crackdown game. And as you can see here in the initial cutscene, you follow this large press conference that's happening where the guy basically admits he doesn't care what's going on, everything explodes, and boom, the game starts. Crysis 2 was released by Electronic Arts in 2011, and this game is really cool, really intense graphics, and it's kind of funny because one of the running jokes from the first Crysis game on PC was that it didn't run very well, so this game had an achievement for did it run? CSI Hard Evidence was released by Ubisoft in 2007, and this game is pretty lackluster. It's not a great game, but back when I was, farming gamer score points, things like that, this was one of those games I put in about an hour of a time and got 1,000 gamer score points. So I figured, why not? Dance Central was released by MTV Games in 2010, and this game was pretty cool because it used your full body as the controller using the KINECT sensor. Now, during game capture, I did not have my KINECT actually hooked up on my desk, so I don't have any game cap because it won't let you play without it, but it's a pretty cool game. Dance Dance Revolution Universe 2, released by Konami in 2007, and this game, honestly, it's just like every other DDR game that there is. I mean, you follow along with the rhythm, you have some crazy fast songs in there, and that's about it. I mean, it's a DDR game. Dante's Inferno was released by Electronic Arts in 2010, and fun fact, this is actually the first game that my now wife ever bought me. So this is a pretty cool game to have in my collection, got some sentimental value with it. And this game, it's actually really fun, very God of War-like, or like old school God of War, but still really fun. The Darkness was released by 2K Games in 2007, and in this game you play as the main character. I believe his name was Tommy, and he kind of just has this darkness inside of him that manifests in really like horrific ways so that he can take out his enemies. Pretty cool game, neat concept. And here's the follow-up, The Darkness 2, released by 2K Games in 2012, so many years later. So it did get a really good graphics update. The storyline I felt was a lot better in this one, but overall it has the same kind of core mechanics. You go around, you take out the baddies with your inner darkness. Pretty fun. Dark Messiah of Might and Magic Elements was released by Ubisoft in 2008, and this was one of those random finds. I just happened to see it on the shelf. I was like, what the heck, looked interesting. It was a super cheap game, and honestly, like, it has a little low budget feel to it, but the game was super fun. Definitely a hidden gem on the 360. Dark Souls was released by From Software in 2011, and this game is notorious for being insanely difficult. I still remember when I picked up this game, the cashier was just like, have you ever played it? And I said, no. And he's like, you're going to die a lot. And here we have Dark Void, released by Capcom in 2010, and it kind of feels like a cross between like a sci-fi shooter kind of game and like a re-envisioning of The Rocketeer. I don't know. It's a space adventure game. You got a jetpack, you shoot stuff. Pretty fun. And here we have Darksiders, released by THQ in 2010. And this game is like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse have crash landed on Earth. It's hell on Earth kind of thing. And you are playing as Death. So pretty cool game. Is definitely an interesting take on this concept. And here we have Darksiders 2, released by THQ in 2012, and this is a continuation of the story where the powers that be are trying to bring balance back. And as you can see here, we got Death running through the screen, and it's all about, becoming Death. Up next is Dead Island, released by Deep Silver in 2011, and this is your typical zombie apocalypse, oh no, you were on vacation, something went horribly wrong kind of game. You get some, first-person exploration going on, but just like every other zombie game. And here we have Dead or Alive 4, released by Tecmo in 2005. Same classic Dead or Alive gameplay that you have come to know and expect from a game like this. Very flashy graphics, very moving and all that kind of stuff. Cool environments, but same premise as always. Up next is Dead or Alive 5, released by Tecmo Koei in 2012. And this game, I don't know what the deal is. I couldn't play any of the modes, and it wouldn't work online. So I don't know if this is just like a dead game now. No pun intended, but yeah, couldn't play it. And yay, another zombie game. It's Dead Rising, released by Capcom in 2006. And I know I was, kind of being sarcastic, but this one's actually pretty fun. You can use, like, literally anything in the game to kill zombies. So that was kind of fun. Gave you some exploration, and you could really get creative, especially with lawnmowers. Up next is Dead Space, released by Electronic Arts in 2011. And this game is terrifying. Like, it is such a good thriller horror game. I mean, I can't think of any other game that has you on the edge of your seat and makes you as jumpy as this game does. And here we have Deus Ex Human Revolution, released by Square Enix in 2011. And this game is really cool. It takes you on the typical story you would expect from any kind of game, but it really blends like a magical sort of feel with deep technology. And here we have Dragon Age Origins, released by Electronic Arts in 2009. And I got this game because I could not believe how amazing the cinematics looked in the trailers for it. Man, was I disappointed. I did not like this game at all, and I thought the graphics were absolute crap. Up next is Dynasty Warrior 6, released by Koei in 2008. And if you've played one Dynasty Warrior games, essentially you've played them all. It's gigantic hack and slash missions with just thousands of NPCs and all kinds of stuff, taking over various parts of China, Japan, all of that stuff. Yeah, it's the same as all the other games. Here we have The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, released by 2K Games in 2006, and this was a really good one. I've heard it's a lot better on PC than console. On console, I felt it was pretty clunky, but overall, I mean, it was a fun Elder Scrolls game. I still like Morrowind, though. And of course, The Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, released by Bethesda Softworks in 2011, and this one, for whatever reason, my disc was not working. I think I got to pick up a new copy, but everyone knows what Skyrim is by now. I mean, the game was epic. I can't even tell you how many hundreds of hours people played this game. Up next is Fear, released by Vivendi Games in 2006, and that is the first Encounter Assault Recon. So this is kind of like a horror, thriller, suspense kind of game with like a ghost chick. I mean, it's fun though. It's all right. Up next is Fear 2 Project Origin, released by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment in 2009. And this game, they totally did a deep dive into story versus the first game. It is a continuation, but man, this game was just on another level. And here we have Fable 2, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2008. And the whole concept just behind these games of how the choices you make affect you later in the game, it was so cool at the time. I mean, every game in its monkey does it now, but this was kind of the pioneering franchise for this. And up next is Fable 3, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2010. And this one continues the story that's been happening in the franchise. It gives you all the same kind of things that you've become accustomed to with choice and everything like that. And it feels more grown up. And here we have Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition, released by Bethesda Softworks in 2008. And what's really cool about the special Game of the Year Edition is it gave you every single DLC that ended up coming out. And there was a lot, but Fallout 3, God, what a great game. I personally like Fallout 4 as well, but 3 was awesome. And last up for this video is Far Cry 2, released by Ubisoft in 2008. And this is the GameStop Pre-Order Edition. Fancy. And in this game, I think this was the first one that was kind of an actual open world Far Cry game. So they really set a precedence with this one, and it's still used today. The first Templar was released by Calypso Media in 2011, and this is a game that I would classify as kind of a hidden gem on the 360. It's super fun. It has a very medieval times Assassin's Creed kind of feel to it, but at a much lower budget. Forza Motorsport 3 was released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2009, and this game takes the same crazy realism that you would expect in any kind of Forza game and just gives you a brand new edition. Pretty cool, but a little too realistic for my taste. Frontline's Fuel of War was released by THQ in 2008, and this is your typical kind of FPS, military, shooter, Call of Duty wannabe kind of game. I mean, there's a million of these games, it feels like, and this one, I mean, I don't really see what it brought to the table. Front Mission Evolved was released by Square Enix in 2010, and at first glance, I thought this would be kind of a budget title, but actually, it's pretty cool. Like, you're playing around in this mech that can fly and hover and skate and do all kinds of cool stuff, has weapons. I mean, I really liked it, actually. And up next, we have G-Force, released by Disney Interactive Studios in 2009, and speaking of budget titles, here it is. Crappy game to go along with what was not a stellar movie to begin with. Not sure why they made a game out of this. I guess kids were asking for it. Up next, we got Gears of War, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2006, and this is the game that kicked off an amazing franchise. Excellent storytelling, and some stuff totally messes with your head, but overall, what an amazing game franchise. And I love Gears of War. And here's the follow-up, Gears of War 2, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2008, and this game got a bit of a spec bump, as you would expect, and gameplay overall is the same. They tweaked a few things, but the biggest thing is the continuation of the story, picking up right where the last game left off. Up next is Gears of War 3, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2011, and gotta be honest, I haven't actually played this one yet, so I'm just showing a bit of the multiplayer here. Please don't at me. I am slowly working through the franchise to get ready for Gears 5 coming out. Oh look, another one I haven't played, Gears of War Judgment by Microsoft Game Studios in 2013, and this one, I guess, from what I was reading, it's kind of a side story or like a B-side to what was going on in the Gears of War universe. So, another one I haven't played yet. I want to get through the other ones before I play these. Up next, we have Grand Slam Tennis 2, released by EA Sports in 2012, and it's exactly what you would expect. It's a tennis game, and I mean, if you like Pong, I guess, you know, it's the same premise. You hit the ball back and forth. They just added a pretty skin to it. And here we have Grand Theft Auto 4, released by Rockstar Games in 2008, and I've played the other Grand Theft Auto games. I haven't honestly played 5 that much yet, but this was the first one that really grasped my attention. I mean, the open world gameplay, this game was phenomenal, and I had fun just playing it again. Up next, we have Guitar Hero 2, released by Activision in 2007, and this is the game that started my obsession with rhythm games. And I'm sure most people around the same time would say the same thing. I mean, it's Guitar Hero. I mean, what else more is there to say? And here we have Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock, released by Activision in 2007. And this game, yeah, it got some like new scenic backgrounds and new play areas and stuff like that. Overall, same game, just they improved it, really. I mean, it's the same as 2, just a little bit better. Now here we have Guitar Hero World Tour, released by Activision in 2008. This one was definitely a game changer. New guitars, full instruments, you could do singing, drums, guitar, bass, you could play everything with this, and oh man, this one, I spent so many hours playing this game. And continuing from the Xbox collection videos, now we have Halo 3, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2007. And this, of course, was continuing the Halo storyline with Master Chief. And, I mean, overall, it's the same game you've come to know and love, but they just add a few tweaks and improvements and get better graphics. Up next is Halo Wars, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2009. Gotta be honest, I was way more excited for this game when it came out than I should have been after playing it, because I loved StarCraft as a kid, and this game, I thought it was going to be the same kind of thing, but it did not really live up. And here we have Halo 3 ODST, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2009. And this was essentially Halo 3 from the perspective of a different squad. And this game, some people didn't like it, but I actually had a really fun time playing this game. I really did enjoy this. And plus, this is where I got my sweet ODST Halo 3 controller. Now here we have Halo Reach, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2010, and for me personally, this is when I felt like the series was showing fatigue, and this, I kind of just bum rushed the storyline. I never really played multiplayer. At this point, I just did not care about online multiplayer anymore. And here's Halo 4, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2012, and this was another one where I just kind of rushed through the storyline. As you can see, the graphics are very impressive, even for a 360 game by today's standards. And, I mean, it was just, that was it, really. I mean, I just wanted to play the next piece of the story. Nothing major. And here's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, released by Electronic Arts in 2010. And this is one of those better with KINECT games. I'm not sure what made it better. It just wasn't a very good game to begin with, in my opinion. Up next is Homefront, released by THQ in 2011. And this game, it felt like most shooter kind of games, but at the same time, it felt different. It felt like it was in its own little segment of the market. I mean, it was okay, nothing spectacular, but I mean, it was all right. And here we got Jeopardy, released by THQ in 2012, and this is exactly what you would expect. Just like every other Jeopardy video game, it's Jeopardy. I mean, in this one, they actually give you like options to choose from, but I don't know. I mean, it's still Jeopardy. Who cares? And here we have Jericho by Clive Barker, released by Codemasters in 2007. And this game is freaky, man. I mean, Clive Barker, that dude is known for some crazy horror stuff, and this game is no different. I mean, the game is a total just like mind trip. And I mean, it's okay, but it's just trippy. And up next, we have Cameo, Elements of Power, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2009. And this one, I thought it was a pretty neat concept because you have the main character, but you keep absorbing powers from other things throughout the game in order to beat all the baddies. So, thought that was pretty cool. Up next is KINECT Adventures, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2010. Now, just like the last video, I don't have my KINECT hooked up while I'm capturing footage, but it was a lot of like generic like Wii Sport title games, but for the KINECT. And here's another one, KINECT Sports, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2010, and same thing, didn't have my sensor connected, so I couldn't capture the footage, wouldn't let me play it. But same concept as the KINECT, like any KINECT game, really. I mean, you play with your avatar and do some generic little carnival games. And here we have Kung Fu Panda, released by Activision in 2008. And, okay, yes, it's a video game adaptation of an animated movie, but I gotta be honest, this game was super fun to play, and I had a lot of fun just going on a 3D platforming adventure. And here we have LA Noire, released by Rockstar Games in 2011, and regrettably, this is one that I have not had time to sit down and play, but I have heard nothing but amazing things about this game, and I can't wait to carve out that time and finally play through this amazing story. And here we have Lara Croft, Tomb Raider Legend, released by Eidos Interactive in 2006. And this is exactly what you would expect. I mean, for the console generation that it was in, it still felt pretty blocky, like as if it was like a PS2 or like a PS1 Plus kind of thing. But overall, the controls are exactly what you'd expect. And last up for this video is Left 4 Dead, released by Electronic Arts in 2008. And when this came out, this game was a massive hit because it was so different from any other game that had been released. The whole squad mentality combined with stealth and zombies, it was just awesome. Up first for this video, we have Lego Harry Potter Years 1 through 4, released by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment in 2010. And this game is exactly what you would expect from a Lego game. You go through a loose retelling of whatever property it happens to be modeled after, and you do it in Lego style. Up next is Lego Indiana Jones The Original Adventures, released by LucasArts in 2008. And this game, this was actually the first kind of true Lego experience I had in a video game. And I gotta say, this game was a blast. I actually 100% completed it. Up next is Lego Indiana Jones 2, The Adventure Continues, released by LucasArts in 2009. And this was essentially the same game, a little bit of a different layout, and then they added Kingdom of the Crystal Skull into it. And again, I 100% completed this game because I just had a blast playing through it. And continuing with that same theme, we have Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, released by Disney Interactive Studios in 2011. And again, it's just like every other Lego game, except it follows a story about a different movie property. So, yeah, this one is Pirates of the Caribbean. And here we have Madden 07, released by EA Sports in 2006. And this game was actually my first, like, real introduction into a sports game on a gaming console. And, I mean, This one was better than other ones I had played in the past. It wasn't as confusing to me, but still, I don't really care for sports games. Up next is Marvel Ultimate Alliance, released by Activision in 2006, and this game is pretty sweet. It has really decent graphics that I think hold up pretty well in today's gaming landscape, and you get to just team up with all the cool Marvel things. Think of a Avengers video game before the Avengers. Now, here we have Mass Effect, released by Microsoft Studios in 2007, and this game is awesome. I remember playing through this, and this was actually the game I was playing when I got my very first Red Ring on my original 360, and then I had to go back and figure out how to play it after I got it back under warranty. And here we have the follow-up, Mass Effect 2, released by EA, Electronic Arts, in 2010. And this game, they changed a lot of stuff, but I think it was for the better. Now, I gotta be honest though, I have never actually finished this game. I really need to go back and do it so I can play the other Mass Effect game. Speaking of, here's Mass Effect 3, released by EA in 2012, and this one was one of those better with KINECT games. I don't know, I still haven't played it, but I heard the game was awesome. I just need to finish Mass Effect 2 before I dive into the story on this one. And here we have Mercenaries 2 World in Flames, released by EA in 2008. And I found some like cool footage and gameplay of this online, but unfortunately, my copy of the game, it just would not work in my 360, and I couldn't find my backup 360 to see if I could get it to play right. Now here we have Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, released by Konami in 2013, and this game, it's weird. I don't know, it's like a run and gun, but at the same time it's a Metal Gear game. I don't know. And I think the name is very odd, Revengeance. Now here we have Metro 2033, released by THQ in 2010. And this game, while I do not think the graphics hold up very well at all, I think this game was really cool because it was the start of the Metro franchise, which is actually a really cool gaming franchise. And here we have another Midnight Club game. That's Midnight Club Los Angeles, released by Rockstar Games in 2008. Now, my favorite is Club 3 Dub Edition, but this one was actually really fun too. It has great graphics, a typical jump up that you would expect in a gaming series, but overall, I mean, it's not my favorite one. I still like the other one better. And here is Mortal Kombat, released by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment in 2011. And this one, I mean, it was okay. I mean, it was cool to see like X-ray moves and stuff like that. But overall, I wasn't really feeling this generation of Mortal Kombat game. Now here is NBA 2K13, released by 2K Sports in 2012. And again, not a huge sports fan, especially not of the video games. I mean, this one was executive produced by Jay-Z, so it's got a bunch of his music in it. I mean, that's kind of cool, I guess. Yep, another sports game. NHL 10, released by EA Sports in 2009. And I still, no matter how many of these games I play, I don't understand hockey. The controls on this seemed a little wonky to me, but maybe it's the norm for games like this. I really don't know. I mean, I've always wanted to go to a hockey game. I heard they're fun. And here we have Ninja Blade, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2009, but it was actually created by From Software. So, you know, they like to make real difficult games. But this game, it has a lot of, like, timing events and stuff like that. Seems pretty low budget. Maybe this was around when they were kind of getting started in the 3D space. And speaking of notoriously difficult franchises, Ninja Gaiden 2, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2009. The Ninja Gaiden games are always just stupid hard to play. I mean, the controls are simple enough, but man, they go total overkill on just how difficult some areas of these games can get. And here we have Overlord, released by Codemasters in 2007. And this one's kind of a fun concept. You're actually playing as the bad guy, and you're controlling like your demon hordes and stuff like that. Kind of low budget feeling to it, but not bad. I mean, it was a fun concept. And here is Perfect Dark Zero, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2005. And cool gaming franchise, but unfortunate that this game kind of killed it off, I guess you could say. But overall, I mean, the game was all right. It was fun enough. Pocket Bike Racer, released by King Games in 2006. And obviously, this game is so amazing. No, I'm joking. This game sucks. And I mean, all these Burger King games were just total crap. I mean, cool, it's mini bikes, but honestly, these games are trash. Here is an awesome game. That is Portal 2, released by EA in 2011, and this is a Valve property, and they always make super fun games. This game, I had never actually played the original Portal when it came out, but I went back and played it after this because this game was so much fun. I had a blast playing through the solo campaign. And here we have Prey, released by 2K Games in 2006. And this game is 100% different from the more modern game Prey. But honestly, I like this OG one way better. It was a completely different concept, and I feel like it played a lot better. The new one was kind of boring. Up next, we have Prince of Persia, released by Ubisoft in 2008. And this game got a lot of flack, but honestly, I really liked it. I thought it was a really cool concept, the way you're like fighting back darkness with light and all that stuff. And of course, you have staple moves that are in the Prince of Persia franchise. Up next is Pure, released by Disney Interactive Studios in 2008. And it feels like there are a million of these kind of games where it's, motocross, ATVs, all that kind of stuff. I mean, this one is pretty fun. I will give it that. But overall, it's just like all of the other games of this type. Up next is Quake 4, released by Activision in 2005. And this game is pretty gory. I mean, for what it is, I figured it'd be more just like, you go play some Quake in an arena. But no, this one has more of a storyline to it, and it's graphic. Up next is Cubed, released by Atari in 2009. And this one is like a fun compilation of some different, like, puzzle action kind of games from Atari. And I really liked it. I mean, it's bright and vibrant. If you're prone to seizures, don't play it. But overall, I mean, cool game. Up next is Rainbow Six Vegas, released by Ubisoft in 2006. And this is your typical Tom Clancy shooter. Although I will say, out of all these kind of different Tom Clancy games, this series was actually one of my favorite. I really enjoyed the storyline. I really enjoyed the gameplay. It was just good game. And here's the follow-up to that. That is Rainbow Six Vegas 2, released by Ubisoft in 2008. And this is a continuation of the story. It got an obvious graphical update. It also got some gameplay changes. The game runs a bit smoother, and it's just another fun Rainbow Six Vegas game. And last for this video is Red Dead Redemption, released by Rockstar Games in 2010. Now, please don't hate me. I have not actually played through this full game. I know it's supposed to be the most amazing game ever. Same with the new Red Dead, which I also haven't played. I will get around to it. Rayman Origins was released by Ubisoft in 2011, and this game takes the same classic Rayman gameplay that you grew accustomed to back in the day and gives it a whole fresh new skin. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed playing through this game. Red Faction Guerrilla was released by THQ in 2009, and in this game you go on a military-esque kind of FPS sort of adventure. And I mean, overall the game is pretty fun, but it feels just like a lot of other games, maybe with a slightly more in-depth story to it. Red Faction Armageddon was released by THQ in 2011, and although this game had a ton of hype leading up to it, the game was a commercial flop and really just was not that good. It was pretty disappointing compared to the last game. And here we have Resident Evil 5, released by Capcom in 2009, and this game, it was okay. I didn't really care for it that much because it didn't really feel like it followed the Resident Evil kind of formula that had been established by previous games. Up next is Risen, and this game was released by Deep Silver in 2010, and this is like your classic budget RPG kind of game on the 360 or like from the OG Xbox era. I mean, the game is okay, and it has a mediocre story, but And here we have a classic Rock Band released by MTV Games in 2007. And this game was groundbreaking because it finally let you play the drums. And it let you sing and stuff too. But the drums were the big selling point for me on this game. And here we have the Beatles Rock Band, released by MTV Games in 2009. And this one was the same concept as Rock Band. You got to play as any member of the band, but it took you through like the Beatles' whole career. So it was pretty cool. And here we have Section 8, released by South Peak Games in 2009. And I didn't really know much about this game going in, but after playing it for a bit, the first thought that I had was, holy cow, this game is totally just Apex Legends. And it was released way before that game was even thought of. So, I mean, it was pretty cool to see that. Here we have Sega Superstars Tennis, released by Sega in 2008. And if you've ever played a Mario Tennis game, then you know exactly what to expect from a game like this. They have a lot more, heavy rock music to go with it, but it's just like any kind of Mario Tennis game. Up next is Shaun White's Skateboarding, released by Ubisoft in 2010, and I always liked his snowboarding games and followed him when he was doing the Olympics and stuff, but this was a totally different skate game than I expected. You're kind of like repainting the world as you skate, so interesting concept. And here we have Shrek the Third, released by Activision in 2007. And I actually have this game on another console, but it's a Shrek game. You quasi play through the story of the movie, and you just go around and hit a bunch of stuff. Up next, we have Skate 3, released by Electronic Arts in 2010, and this game is just awesome. It's great how they teach you how to play the game, and then you just have a blast in a truly remarkable skating game. I mean, sure, there's Tony Hawk games, but I personally like this one better than those. And Burger King strikes again with Sneak King, released by King Games in 2006. And this game is just like all about being a creeper, man. You just gotta sneak around, not get caught, and complete some missions, but playing as the Burger King guy. That's pretty creepy. And here we have Sonic the Hedgehog, released by Sega in 2006, and this is arguably one of the worst Sonic games. Graphically, it's meh, the storyline is complete garbage, and there's the whole, like, relationship between Sonic and a human girl thing. It's very weird. Up next is Spec Ops The Line, released by 2K Games in 2012, and this is exactly what you would expect from a military shooter style game. It starts off pretty strong though. It's kind of fun. You're firing a nice Gatling gun from a helicopter and taking out a bunch of enemies during the intro credits. Now here's a great game. That is Star Wars The Force Unleashed, released by LucasArts in 2008. And as you can see, right when you jump into the game, boom, you are Vader. And I mean, these games, they were so awesome because it was such a unique take on the Star Wars universe. And here we have the follow-up, Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, released by LucasArts in 2010. And this one picks up right where the last one left off. You're trying to fight the control that Vader had over you, and you're just going around doing a little hack and slash action. Up next, we have Super Street Fighter 4, released by Capcom in 2010, and I gotta be honest, I did not care for the animation style of this game. I mean, they kind of went realistic, but also tried to get some of that Borderlands shading action going on, and I just don't personally care for it. I mean, overall, it's Street Fighter, though. And here we have Tony Hawk's Project 8, released by Activision in 2006. And while graphically the game is, an obvious jump up from the other ones, it really was not my favorite. They added like a bunch of like quest kind of things to it and challenges, and I just didn't care for this one. Up next is Turok, released by Buena Vista Games in 2008, and this is kind of a reimagining of the OG Turok games, and it's pretty fun. You go like Space Marine status and fighting baddies, and then you get to fight some dinos. And here we have Two Worlds, released by South Peak Games in 2007, and this is another one of those just like RPG, Elder Scrolls wannabe kind of games on the 360. I mean, not saying this game is bad or anything, it's a little clunky, but it was just okay. And here we have Velvet Assassin, released by South Peak Games in 2009. And this one, I don't really know what to make of it. It kind of has like a Metro 2033 vibe to it, mixed with like some, I don't know, Splinter Cell kind of mechanics. It's a weird game. Up next is Viva Pinata Party Animals, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2006. And this is like a kart racer, but you play as pinatas. So, I mean, it was kind of fun. It's a unique concept, I guess, or a unique take on a kart racer, but overall just kind of a silly game. Here we have Warhammer 40k Space Marine, released by THQ in 2011, and this one is very hack and slash, and it doesn't really have the strategy aspect of some Warhammer games, but, I mean, it was kind of fun to go beat up some baddies. Speaking of hack and slash, we got Warriors Orochi 2, released by Koei in 2008, and if you've ever played a Dynasty Warriors game, then you've played a Warriors Orochi game. I mean, they are all like the same game. I don't know how they keep getting funding to keep making them. I mean, personally, these kind of games aren't my cup of tea. And here we have another KINECT game. That is Wipeout in the Zone, released by Activision in 2011. And same as the other videos, I did not have my KINECT actually attached to the system, but this is based on the ABC show Wipeout. I could never really watch it, made me cringe, it was painful to watch. Now here we have The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings, released by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment in 2012, and this one is a continuation of the Witcher franchise, which is a super fun game franchise, and Witcher 3 is even better than this, but just a really fun RPG. Up next, we got WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, released by THQ in 2007. And just like every other wrestling game on the planet, I have no idea how to play this, and I always do horribly. I mean, the graphics are okay, I guess, but meh. And here we got a fun thing. It's the Xbox Live Arcade Unplugged Volume 1, released by Microsoft Game Studios in 2006. And what this does is it adds a few games, but also allows you to not be connected to the internet to play Xbox Live Arcade games. So I thought that was pretty neat. Here we have Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z, released by Tecmo Koei in 2014. And it has that fun Borderlands kind of art style to it. And this one is just swarm after swarm of you just smash and kill everything in sight. This is the first level, and I ended up getting like 500 hits or something. And last and kind of least, Your Shape Fitness Evolved, released by Ubisoft in 2008. Another KINECT game to finish off this collection series. And yeah, I mean, it's a fitness game. It just happened to be the last one in the collection alphabetically.
So there you have it, everyone. That is everything that was in my Xbox 360 collection series. I know a bit of a longer video, but there was a lot of games in the collection at the time, and there are even more now. So maybe someday I'll do an update video, but for now, that's what you guys get. Now, if you liked today's video, please be sure to let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, please be sure to also hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification bell so you can alert every time I get a new video coming out. Now, as always, I'm GameDad. I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you later.